Hey there. I'm Dr. Huntley, and I'm so excited that you've joined me on this video. I am the host and producer of the Public Health Epidemiology Careers podcast, and I'm the creator of the Public Health Consulting and Entrepreneurship Expo. So, in this video, I really want to talk to you about three common challenges that I've noticed when it comes down to public health careers. So, one of the things I'm really passionate about is helping other public health professionals move into careers, start businesses, and even grow the businesses that they've already started that target the populations that they care most about in public health. I believe that by helping as many people as I possibly can accomplish this goal, then collectively we will be able to advance the public health, the mission of public health, and make a greater impact on improving the health and outcomes of populations of people around the world. I wholeheartedly believe that. So everything that I do is centered, keeps that in mind. So in working with my clients to help them accomplish their goals, I've noticed these three common challenges. So I'm going to share with you these three common challenges and how you can address them. So if you're joining me live, please do say hello in the chat. I like to review that, but I'm going to stay on point so that I can make sure I share what's on my heart. So let me jump in because I am going to use a little bit of technology. I'm going to share my slides here. I have just a few to keep me on track, to help me stay really, and also maybe help you to kind of you know, grasp of some of the concepts or the things I'm talking about. Really simple. I only want to share three. These resonate highly with a lot of you. I'm pretty sure you're going to find yourself in one of these three situations, examples, and you'll be able to take away some really good tidbits, hopefully. All right, let's jump in. So, the three common challenges. The first one, this challenge is often faced by prospective students because now public health is everyone's hearing about public health, thinking about public health. The pandemic is, and we've all been impacted and we're all still going through and experiencing and dealing with the challenges of the pandemic. But that has put a big bright light on public health. So a lot of people are interested in, and now maybe the first time they're understanding public health, but they're interested in pursuing that as a career option. And then we've got current students who've been working on their degree in public health, and we've got recent graduates. So this is a common challenge. They have a very limited view of the career options that are available in public health. So, outside of what is commonly seen, working in government organizations, working in academia, maybe research, that's what I hear the most. Outside of that, people really struggle to conceptualize what they can do with their public health degree and really look for the opportunities. So, I've had people come to me and say, I live in a rural area and there just aren't any opportunities where I live. And they're thinking, okay, well, the government organizations or academia, and they're very limited in thinking about the opportunities for public health. I've also heard people say, "Well, I live in a big city, yes, but it's saturated. There just aren't any other opportunities. It's very competitive. The job market's saturated when it comes to public health, and it's hard to compete, and there aren't any opportunities." I've heard that not just from one or two people, but I've heard that from so many people. So I know these are common challenges that people face. And then also graduates. I've heard graduates that have a hard time getting into the field of public health for one reason or another, but they come back and they think, well, I've exhausted the opportunities within, I don't want to work in academia. And then there's like the government opportunities, they're not hiring, or, they want to work in government or they want to work in academia and they can't get into academia. And they just feel like these are the only options they have. So they begin to feel boxed in and very limited. And this is a major challenge, and this is an ongoing challenge. But I've helped my clients deal with this challenge by inspiring those creative thoughts and thinking creatively. And if you're familiar with me and if you've listened to my podcast, if you've been in my community for a while, you're used to hearing me say this, but you've got to think outside the box. And that is exactly how you address these issues. You really need to. I interviewed a client recently, and we were just having I think it was actually one of my podcast episodes. I have to think back to exactly which one it was. But she said to me that she sees public health everywhere, and she filters that everything through a public health lens to help her see, where all the opportunities are. And that's what you really need to do. That's what I mean by think outside the box. That is another reason why we created, or I created, the Public Health Consulting and Entrepreneurship Expo, because the presenters that come on share individually, they share their entrepreneurial journeys, what they are, what businesses they have. Some of them have written books and have different types of products or services that they offer to the communities that they serve. But they explain all of this to you. They tell you their journey. You get to know them, and then they connect the dots for you, and they explain to you how they are creatively advancing public health. So sometimes they are taking something that exists and they're improving upon it, or niching down and targeting a community that has been overlooked. Or maybe they're taking something, putting their own personal spin on it and presenting it in a different light that helps people receive that information or that product or service a much in a different way, a group of people that otherwise may have been overlooked. That's what I mean by thinking outside the box and being creative. So when you participate in the expo, you get a chance to listen to all of these different stories. It doesn't mean that you want to start your business, although a lot of people get inspiration to start their business, but a lot of people get inspiration for how they can either have a more rewarding career, bring that back to what they're already doing it and make it that more exciting and more rewarding, or they start to view their job search a lot differently. They look toward their career in terms of the impact that they're able to have, and they're just inspired to think more creatively. So that is the beauty of the expo, is you have all these examples, and they're real practical examples of people who are doing this every day. So it helps you if you feel stuck or you feel like you're boxed in. Then the expo is great because it helps to jumpstart that creative um, thought process, and get you to start to thinking more creative about your options. And there are so many career options and opportunities to serve in public health because the field is so broad and public health is everywhere. So the I get all excited about this because this is how I feel about the expo. This is how I want to open the eyes, and really I don't want anyone to feel boxed in. I've already been there, done that, and I want to help as many people as I possibly can to unbox themselves and to think more creatively, because this is what we need in public health. Whether you're going back to your traditional organizations or you starting your own direction, we need the creative thinkers to not feel boxed in. We need people to not feel like they have no opportunities to serve, because there is a great need in public health and the creative thinkers are welcome. We need creative thinkers. So I think I made that pretty clear. So let's move on to number two. And this one is, let me explain this one. So sometimes my mid or senior level career professionals will be working in an organization 10, 15 years or longer, or they've worked at different organizations and they collectively bring, several years of experience and a level of expertise to the table. And they are really aware of some of the pain points and some of the problems because they've been in the work, they've been in the industry in their niche area for a while, and they really are well aware of some of these challenges. And so they are, sometimes they have ideas about how they would like to approach something different, something new, and they are just afraid or confused about what to do. So afraid to step out because they, maybe it's a little non-traditional, maybe it's just not the way they've heard things before. It's just completely different and they're not sure how well it'll be received. Sometimes in some of the systems that we work in, there's this very clear pecking order, and you don't feel very free to share your ideas and your thoughts. You don't feel like it's really well received, from personal experience and what I've also heard so much from my clients. So sometimes the fear is just, they're not going to be taken seriously and nobody's going to really care. And then the confusion comes when they have ideas about what they like to do, but they just don't know what to do next or what to do first. Do I start a website? Do I start branding? How do I narrow down all these ideas I have, because I have four or five of them and I don't know how to pick one? Can I go with four or five? Like, there's so many questions and more questions and answers. So this is where, again, the expo comes into play, because it not only gives you all of these examples, but for the people who are faced with this challenge, it's inspiring. Sometimes it is not, make that really clear. It's not going to give you a step by step blueprint on how to start your business. But what it will do is give you great clarity and insights. And where for people who are inspired to start a business, they already know they want to. They're just secretly engaging them, the thoughts in their mind, but because they don't know who to talk to about it, or they're not really sure who to talk to or how well that will receive. It's just that confusion and fear kind of mixed in there. So the expo gives the opportunity to see these examples. Um, all of the presenters are very transparent about their business models, well, what they do, how they got started, and from that, sometimes that's what is needed to really give you those next steps or those first steps. So, this is a way to not only get some of that from the presenters, but we also have a community. So, everyone who's rolled in the expo is a part of this community. And it's a great place to spread your wings and think creatively. And that's what so many people have been doing. And it has inspired so many next steps. So many people have gotten unstuck, amazing levels of clarity. And this is just exactly what needs to happen in order for you to break through the confusion and kind of get overcome the fear. Sometimes having that community gives you a little bit of support and confidence to break through the fear, and certainly a level of kind of clarity to break through the confusion. So those are my tips for this challenge. And then I have one more, and that is just, hmm, let's see. I would say this is for mid to senior level, more senior level professionals that are happy with what they're doing. They've been working in their industry for years, and they are in one of our presenters used the phrase of, we work in these silos in public health. So that was like it was spot on to describe this. But when you are in academia, you know academics. When you're a researcher, you know researchers. When you're an epidemiologist, you tend to hang out with epidemiologists. So we work in our niche areas in our industry, and we're not really clear about what's going on more broadly in public health. So if you've always been in government, for example, you're not really sure what's going on in commercial industry as it relates to public health, or just across, just more broadly across uh, multiple interests. So the expo, okay, so before I go to the expo, because I mean, everything's about the expo, of course, hello, I'm a huge fan. Um, but one of the reasons we try to network and get to know our colleagues and what our colleagues are doing is to kind of address this challenge, become more aware of what's happening across the industries. But I do believe strongly in the power of the expo and what I've heard from my presenters in the past. Remember, this is the fourth time that I'm hosting the expo, and I keep bringing a new panel of presenters each year because I wanna keep it fresh, I wanna keep it timely, and I want there to be there's so many consultants and entrepreneurs out there in public health, and I want different people to have a chance to be highlighted. I want there to be a broad representation of the diverse opportunities, and the best way to demonstrate that is by putting different presenters on display and letting them share in the way that they like to share. And how it helps people in this with who are faced with this particular challenge is it gives you a snippet, a view of what's happening across the industry. So some of the presenters have told me that, they've had people reach out to them who attended the expo, learned about their services, and then they get opportunities to work with these other organizations because they can bring their services and products in to help the bigger organizations solve some of their issues and problems. So the government organizations and all sorts of public health entities and outside of traditional public health are looking for consultants who specialize and provide this niche specific level of expertise. So when they attend the expo, that's a great opportunity to get an idea of what's going on in the industry outside of their own niche, and also to connect with and bring those resources back to their organizations. So it's a great way to address this challenge in a huge way, just naturally and organically being able to network within the community of expo presenters and attendees is amazing, because networking is how we overcome this challenge as well. So networking in this creative space and this creative way is just, it's an amazing way to address these challenges. So we've got three, for students, prospective and current students, graduates, mid, senior level career professionals. The expo helps address the different challenges that you're facing in your career with getting unstuck, gaining clarity, knowing what your colleagues are doing, having a broader view of this broad field of public health, and being maybe rekindling some of your own passions for entering into the field, revisiting some of your reasons why you joined public health, and looking at some of the ways to diversify, your efforts to impact populations of people that you care about. This is an incredible inspirational source as well as a resource to help broaden your perspective on public health. I cannot emphasize enough. And I'm going to be sharing with you in upcoming videos from the words of some of our attendees, just what they have to say about the expo and how it's really having the impact. So if you don't believe me, you take their word for some of it. Um, I will encourage you to visit publichealthexpo.com. In fact, let me share that with you really quickly. And you can actually scroll down that page and you will see some of the testimonials, what people have had to say about our community, about the presenters, about the experience so far. It's really wonderful. It's amazing, and I really encourage you to explore that. If you resonate with any of those challenges that I've described, then this is an opportunity for you to address those challenges in a very effective way. And finally, as if that wasn't enough, I think it's amazing reason to jump in. I am offering summer camp, and it is absolutely free for anyone who has enrolled in the expo. Summer camp, it's Public Health Entrepreneurs Summer Camp. And when you visit publichealthexpo.com, you'll learn all the details about it. But essentially, we're going to meet virtually, but live together, take a deep dive on some of the specific questions that people commonly have when they go through the expo. We're going to work on these together, and it's going to be an amazing opportunity. It's going to be spread out across the summer, but now is the time to enroll. If you enroll now, you have an opportunity to dive into some of the presenters, the presentations that are in the expo, some of the lessons and information. It is very rich. There are multiple modules, but start to dig into that content and information. So by the time we kick off summer camp, you will be ready and your questions will be fresh, and it'll just be the best use of time all the way around. So do not delay, don't procrastinate. Think about how this is going to help you to just really level up your own career. So whether you're a student, graduate, early, mid, senior career professional, this expo is for you. So thank you for joining me. I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope there's at least one thing you can take away from what I shared today. And I'm excited to welcome you into the expo.